Congratulations, you made it to our fourth and final type of multiplication, which is a negative multiplied by a negative. All right, so when we see a negative in our first term, we now know that that means take away. So here we are going to be taking away three groups. Oh, I spelled groups wrong. Oh well, three grops of negative 2. Right. So we're going to need our 0 pairs. Because here I'm going to make our table. We have a big empty table, and it's asking us to take something away, and we can't take something away from nothing. We have no tiles on our table, so how can we take any away? All right, let's create some 0 pairs. I'm going to start by creating 3 groups of positive 2. There's 1 group, 2 groups, 3 groups. That's 3 groups of positive 2. I need to balance out my table so it still has a value of 0. So I'm going to create 3 groups of negative 2. 1 group of negative 2, 2 groups of negative 2, 3 groups of negative 2. So the last problems were having us taking away our groups of positives, and now we are taking away 3 groups of negative 2. So there's 1 group of negative 2, there's 2 groups of negative 2, and there's 3 groups of negative 2. So we just took away 3 groups of negative 2, and what we were left with was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 positives. So negative 3 times negative 2 is a positive 6. All right, let's try this. So we have a negative 4 multiplied by a negative 3. So we can read this as take away 4 groups of negative 3. Okay, let me get my big blank table out. Got nothing on our table, so we have to create some 0 pairs in order to remove some stuff. I'm going to start with my positives, and I'm going to go ahead and make 4 groups of positive 3. There's 1 group of positive 3, 2 groups of positive 3, 3 groups of positive 3, and 4 groups of positive 3. Got to balance out my table. Got to keep it equal to 0. So I'm going to add my negatives. I'm going to add 4 groups of negative 3. 1 group of negative 3, 2 groups of negative 3, 3 groups of negative 3, and 4 groups of negative 3. So my table equals 0, but now I can do my math. I can take away 4 groups of negative 3. So there's 1 group, there's 2 groups, there's 3 groups, there's 4 groups. We went ahead and we took them all away. What we're left with is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 positive tiles. So a negative 4 times a negative 3 equals a positive 12. So our general rule here, anytime you have a negative number multiplied by a negative number, you will always, always, always end up with a product that is positive. One trick I was taught to remember these rules is called the smiley face rule. And the smiley face rule says that when you have a positive number multiplied by a positive number, that person is happy because they're little eyes, right? It's positive. And anytime you have a negative number multiplied by a negative number, that person is also happy because it has two eyes, so it's positive. Anytime you have a positive number multiplied by a negative number, that person is sad because one of its eyes is kind of swollen shut and the other one is open. Like, I'm sad. It's negative. Anytime you have a negative number times a positive number, that person is also sad because its eyes don't match. I don't know. I learned that a long time ago and it helped me. So positive times a positive is a positive. And a negative times a negative is a positive. A negative times a positive is a negative. And a positive times a negative is a negative. I know. Add that to your notes if it's helpful. Ignore it if it's not.